Hey everybody, welcome into the Thinking Crypto podcast, your home for cryptocurrency news and interviews. I'm your host, Tony Edward. On your way in, please hit that subscribe button as well as the thumbs up button and leave a comment below. If you're listening on a podcast platform such as Spotify or Apple, please leave a 5-star rating and review. Folks, I know I'm a day late, but yesterday was, of course, July 4th, the Independence Day here in the United States. So happy 4th. Yeah, I know it's a day late, and I hope you all had a great time celebrating, those of you in the United States. I hung out with my family, did some grilling, and just relaxing, enjoying the nice weather. So good to be back, and we got some big news that I want to share with you all. But first, let's take a look at Bitcoin and what's happening. Still, we're chopping around the 107 to 110,000 zone, waiting to see what Bitcoin's next move might be. We know from the macro we're heading higher, right? We see all the signs are there, but from the micro, we could see some volatility. Bitcoin may be going a bit lower before going higher. This is just the nature of the beast, and we got to be patient. And patience is the big part that a lot of people are unable to handle, but it comes with investing, whether you're investing in stocks or crypto and much more. So be patient. We're still in the bull market. That thesis has not been invalidated despite bears and floodsters and all the doomers that have been posting all kinds of things on social media. But as always, stick to the data and the facts, not the emotions and the sentiment that you see sometimes out there in the market. Because if you invest with your emotions, it will take you on a roller coaster ride. The markets will rip you apart. But if you look at the data, the on-chain data, the macro, the technicals, the charts, it will show you where we've come from and where we're headed. Here, one user on X highlighted that Bitcoin is currently in a Wyckoff accumulation phase. What's happening right now, there's a bull flag forming on the charts as Bitcoin's still chopping in this zone. And, Bitcoin has been following global liquidity, so has the stock market. So global liquidity has been leading risk assets and showing us the direction we're heading in. Now, it doesn't mean it's going to align perfectly. There is like a 2 to 3 month lag here. So once again, patience is very important, but the charts are showing us higher prices are coming. So we just got to watch this closely, have our cash out plan ready. And of course, I'll be sharing with you guys all the updates when I'm taking profits and much more. Here, analyst Rec Capital shared a chart saying the Bitcoin roadmap. Bitcoin has completely reversed the entirety of its first price discovery correction and broken out from the reaccumulation phase. In fact, over the past few weeks, Bitcoin has been trying to successfully post breakout retest and top of this range into a new support. A successful post-breakout retest is essential to enable Bitcoin to transition into its second price discovery uptrend. So essentially, we got to break that $112,000 price point, which was the high that was set back in May. And once we do that, it's price discovery again. And I think Bitcoin can go between $120,000 to $130,000, possibly higher. And that could be either a blow-off top or a local top. I'm leaning more towards now that that's a local top. Here's why. In addition to certain metrics, we're seeing that Congress is saying come September, we're going to see the crypto market structure bill be voted on, and that might lead into October because, government moves slow. So I don't think they will do something like that beyond the top. I think it will happen around the top, kind of bringing in the herd and the crowd, right? Oh, look, Congress is passing crypto legislation. Now's the time to invest, right? But we know that's the dumb money crowd. We are on the side of smart money. We've been buying the blood, fear, depression, buying the blood on the streets, as they would say, and then waiting for the euphoria greed phase and then taking our profit. So you don't want to be in the dumb money crowd, folks. And look, I was in the dumb money crowd at one point, but then I educated myself. I started learning what the hell was happening with the macro, the charts, and much more. So that's what I'm trying to share with you guys here. All right, folks, we got some huge news coming out from the House Financial Services Committee, which is part of the House in Congress, of course. They shared the following Crypto Week, and they're talking about July 14th to the 18th. They tweeted out that Representative French Hill, who's the chairman, I've had him on the podcast many times, and I will have him on back very soon, as well as Congressman GT, and the House leadership announced that the week of July 14th will be Crypto Week, where the Clarity Act, that's the market structure bill, also the Anti-CBDC Surveillance State Act, and the Genius Act will be considered. So let me break that down for you. With regards to the Genius Act, that's the stablecoin bill. I believe that's going to pass in the House, and then it will go to President Trump's desk because it already passed in the Senate. So the House is the final hurdle, kind of what happened with the big, beautiful bill. It went through the Senate first, then the House, and then straight to President Trump for signatures. So the stablecoin bill is pretty much a done deal. It's very simple, right? There's nothing too complex there. In addition, the anti-CBDC Surveillance State Act bill, I believe that will pass in the House as well, because that's pretty straightforward. However, the Clarity Act, that's the meat and potatoes. That's all the moving parts and components. And I think that's going to take a long time. I think they're going to do markups that week. So don't expect that to pass that week. I could be wrong. Maybe they get it through, but it is a lot in there, right? We're talking DeFi, we're talking taxes, staking, so on and so forth, right? As opposed to stablecoins, which is pretty straightforward. So this is huge. The fact that they're putting this out there, naming it Crypto Week. This is the House Financial Services Committee. How times have changed, folks. I mean, I see stuff like this and I'm so bullish. Wall Street TradFi is on board, the government's on board, and this is happening globally. So it's not just the United States. So incredibly bullish stuff here. Now, the chairman, Congressman French Hill, once again, I'll be having him back on the podcast soon. He went on Fox News this week and he talked a bit about this. Let me play the clip for you.
Middle of making crypto policy for the United States of America. You have an upcoming Crypto Week. Tell us about that.
Well, right now, digital assets, cryptocurrency, and everything related to using financial payments on a blockchain is basically not regulated, not clear to consumers, investors, entrepreneurs how to use it, how to avoid federal prosecution. So in 2 weeks, we'll bring to the House floor the Clarity Act, which gives the rules of the road of how to invest in digital assets, how to trade them, how you can be a broker, and the market framework for digital assets. And we'll also bring to the House floor dollar-backed payment stablecoins, which we believe those two things will advance America's power around the world in financial services by extending the authority of the U.S. dollar as we move from finance in a traditional format to finance being carried out on a blockchain.
So there you have it. And once again, I'll have Congressman Hill on and I'll go through more details with him than he's able to do, obviously, on these quick and fast interviews on TV. So we're going to go through the details. I'll ask him about, the markups, all the different components, and how are they interacting with the SEC and the CFTC to figure this all out? How are they going to handle DeFi? Because it is complex. And you can imagine many people in crypto struggle to understand all these components. And then you throw in Congress, right? Many folks who are older, who don't understand tech as much. And this is something fairly new. So, it's going to be important that the industry weighs in and helps Congress to get this right. Eleanor Terrett reported the following. She said, "We've got 2 big weeks ahead for crypto in Congress. Next Wednesday, the Senate Banking Committee tackles a market structure hearing with a discussion draft likely next week too. Then the House's Crypto Week kicks off the next. It's wild to think that this time last year, we were still waiting on the SEC to move on spot ETH ETF. So things are moving at a rapid pace. Obviously, the government is very pro-crypto. Trump gave the mandate that he wants Congress to have both bills on his desk before the August recess. Now, we know the market structure won't get there before the August recess, as White House crypto czar David Sachs gave us an update just recently saying this is going to be happening in September because, once again, there's so much complexity in that bill, and we want to make sure we get it right. And speaking of bills, Senator Cynthia Lummis introduced a bill to exempt tax on crypto transactions under $300. This could be really big and a game changer, and could be also something that passes along with the market structure bill, because I think this probably has to be addressed in the larger market structure bill. And once again, the timing of this could be the top zone of the market, right? So this is where we're going to watch all of these things closely, folks, right? Stick with me. Make sure you got the notification bell, enable your subscribe wherever you're watching and listening, because we want to walk away from this bull market with money in our pockets, folks. Now, quick word from our sponsor, and that is Uphold. Uphold is a great crypto platform I've been using since 2018. They make it easy for you to buy, sell, stake your crypto. They have over 300 plus cryptocurrencies on their platform: Bitcoin, XRP, Ethereum, Solana, and all the top altcoins. They offer staking on over 20 cryptocurrencies. And folks, I've never had an issue with them. They are reliable. They are fully reserved. You can review their transparency report. They don't commingle or lend out your crypto funds. And they have a great rewards program where you can earn up to 5.25% on stablecoins. So you earn yield, and they do it the right way. I interviewed the CEO to talk about it to make sure no shady stuff is happening here. And the stablecoins they support are Ripple's RLUSD. You can earn up to 5% there, and USDC, where you can earn up to 5.25%. To participate, you simply have to log into the app once per month, deposit $50 once per month, and trade $50 once per month. And part of the rewards program also gives you early access, 24-hour early access to new tokens that Uphold lists. So if you'd like to learn more about Uphold, check out the link in the description. Now, folks, we have some interesting updates around Ripple and the XRP Ledger. So they put out the following news. In one of LATAM, so talking about Latin America, largest tokenization efforts to date, Mercado Bitcoin is bringing over $200 million in real-world assets on-chain to the XRP Ledger, including fixed income and equity income instruments. This is huge adoption for the XRP Ledger. So if you hold XRP, you're obviously excited about this news. This is very bullish because we've often talked about the token XRP doesn't necessarily have to be used directly, because when we talk about network effects, and I've often shared the example of Ethereum, where Ethereum, because of ICOs and NFTs and CryptoKitties and all that stuff, gave it strong network effects. More building, more participants on the blockchain, the more valuable it becomes, and the more valuable its native token becomes. Same concept here. Now, the token itself can be used directly, but once again, that doesn't necessarily matter if you think about, let's say, a social network. Remember, Facebook was valued at millions of dollars before they even got a dollar in revenue. Why? People were on the platform using it. So network effects were playing a factor because you had the attention, you had the utility, you had the use cases, and so forth, right? So they continue here saying the assets will connect to a network trusted by more than 70 central banks and financial institutions. So big news here for XRP holders, and this is what you want to see. If you're investing in a blockchain, you want to see building on that blockchain, a lot of value being put on that blockchain. So this is huge, and Latin America is a huge market, very untapped, when it comes to crypto. So we're seeing a race here among different projects to get this done. Now, folks, this is interesting. 8 Bitcoin wallets move 80,000 Bitcoin in the largest ever Satoshi era transfers. So these wallets were set up in the Satoshi era, and all of these moved coins are among the rarest class of Bitcoin mined or transacted during the Satoshi era, a loosely defined period from Bitcoin's launch in 2009 through 2011, when its pseudonymous creator was still active online. This is interesting, folks. That's a lot of Bitcoin. Obviously, no one knows the identity of the folks who own these wallets, but let's see what happens. It could be they're gearing up to maybe take some profits, or to put Bitcoin in some sort of yield program to earn yield on it, or they are looking to maybe do something with it, like some sort of treasury, Bitcoin treasury strategy or something like that. Who knows? But this is very fascinating. Now, look at this news. Bank of Canada identifies technical path for retail CBDC in new research paper. The study outlines a viable system designed for a Canadian digital dollar with high privacy and speed. So there's still folks trying to build CBDCs here in the United States. Of course, they are banning CBDCs, but I've been telling you guys, be careful with that, because I think they're putting a different name and face to this, because we saw news that JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, and other banks want to form a unified stablecoin. What do you think that is? That's a CBDC, right? All the banks bought in. They're all tied into the Fed and the Treasury, and they can all monitor it accordingly. It's going to be their centralized stablecoin, right? It's not like it's a decentralized stablecoin. So that's where we have to be vigilant and watch out. I'm going to ask, Congressman French Hill about this in my interview with him. Does the anti-CBDC, act and bill, does that block those big banks from, doing things against the Constitution with the respective stablecoin? So I'll make sure to ask him that. But guys, from the macro here, clearly Blockchain will be the rails that powers the government, economy, and markets moving forward. And it's the token economy, which we've been talking about for years. They're going to put all assets on the blockchain in token format, even your money, right? Clearly, I hope you see the direction the puck is heading here, because we want to, capitalize on this and make as much money out of it as possible. Look at this. Ex-European Central Bank official urges Europe to back Euro stablecoins or risk losing financial power. So this is interesting. Lorenzo Bini Smaghi, former European Central Bank board member, warned that the euro's lack of representation in the $255 billion stablecoin market could sideline Europe in global finance. He suggested that the ECB should actively support euro-pegged stablecoins and coordinate standards to modernize payments and unify capital markets. If it fails to do so, he said, Europe might have to accept its marginalization in the future of global finance. So you see the global race here, right? He's saying, hey, Europe, get your act together because the United States, if you read between the lines, is about to pass stablecoin legislation. And obviously the US dollar is the world reserve currency. You put it in stablecoin format, you're going to get a lot more adoption. So, these central banks, even though they all work together and they all come together at Davos and they all talk to each other and blah, 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 right? There's still a competition from a currency standpoint, and no one wants to lose market share. All these central banks, they want their money to be used more and more and have more adoption globally, and they can keep printing. That's the name of the game. So, folks, I'm so bullish to see all these things happening. Crypto's become ubiquitous. It is everywhere, whether it's TradFi, Wall Street, pop culture, society, central banks, governments. Everybody's on board. And if they're not, they're going to get ostracized. And, if they're a fiduciary, whatever it is, they're going to get called an idiot because you see the corporates are doing it now. Everybody, it's incredible. And guys, bullish times are ahead. Remember, be patient. Be patient. The macro thesis of the bull market has not been invalidated. There will be volatility. Expect volatility. All right, folks, that's the news. Let me know what you think. Leave your thoughts and comments below. Hit the thumbs up button. Folks, a great way you can support me in the podcast is by subscribing to my free email newsletter. It is 100% free. It's on Substack. Check out my book on Amazon. It's available in paperback and digital, and my course at mycryptocourse.com. Folks, thank you so much for watching and listening. I appreciate you all, and I'll talk to you all later.